Positive thinking doesn't work. Okay, we've changed position because I realized there was no light. So it's end of year exam season coming up here in Australia. And with that, there's a lot of stress and anxiety. I personally have done a lot of exams and I've had some really bad, stressful, anxious study periods, but I've also had some really good ones. For those of you who haven't done coaching or thought management work before, snap changes at this time of the year when you're just a few weeks out from your exams are hard. Regardless, I want to give you a tool that you can use today to reduce the amount of anxiety and stress you have during this time and subsequently make you think better, study better, learn better, get better results. Let's do it. So what you want, the problem that you want to solve is you want to be able to study or learn effectively over these last few weeks that you can squeeze out before your exam days arrive. You want to do this because you want to maximize your exam mark, or you want to hit a certain threshold, a threshold that you need or want because you want to move on to the next semester, or you want to get into a different course, or you simply want to finish this degree. Right now with this stress and anxiety, you think the problem is that you've not studied enough, you've not planned well, you're going to forget to study something, or not fit in the study of that before the exam. You're worried you might have misunderstood one of the concepts or any other version of just not being good enough or not being ready. With this problem, your brain is offering the solution of stress and anxiety to find all of these problems with the idea that you could then fix them, or so you can avoid the shame or embarrassment, the inevitable failure of you trying. A lot of you do intellectually know that the stress and anxiety in the way that you're using it is not serving you. There's also the fact that it's what we're used to. It's what our programmed and practiced response has been over a long period of time. So it actually takes conscious effort to change the response. And a lot of people think that this anxiety and stress is necessary. It's useful to get things done, that it gives you insight that you couldn't get any other way. Therefore, they actually want to be stressed and anxious all the time. They want the benefit of that, thinking that the only other alternative is being la-di-da, content, unmotivated, and blissfully ignorant. In this video, with this tool, the way that I think about anxiety and stress, we are not looking to completely delete it from our lives. We're gonna use it for what it's actually good for. And we're not gonna misfire using it to the point that when you go to study, you're not studying effectively, or you go to sleep, you can't sleep, or you wake up in the middle of the night. That's how most of us are using stress and anxiety at the moment. It's not working, it's not serving you. And what your actual alternatives are, other than blissful ignorance and lack of motivation. Let's do something different. So let's talk about the place of stress and anxiety in our lives. Stress and anxious thoughts, I want to say. Not anxiety as in the clinical condition of generalized anxiety or situational anxiety, non-pathological anxiety. So anxiety and stress is actually a great tool that our body offers us for short-term alertness with particular attention to threats. In the exam context, it's putting our attention to potential gaps in our study or in our plan, and all the other possibilities up to our plan not working out, i.e. failure, in whatever way you'd find that, or more often don't distinctly define that failure. So that's useful, drawing our attention to possible threats. That can offer really useful insights and perspectives. However, in many situations, including this exam context, despite knowing that is the purpose and place of stress, we misuse and most commonly overuse the stress and anxiety function. This tool, this function that was meant to be sparingly used, we have turned on 70% of the time at mid to low grade level, and maybe even 20% of the time at high grade level. We have it turned on at the wrong time. It's on when we're trying to do critical thinking and deep learning processes. That is not where stress and anxious thoughts serve us. With the stress and anxiety switched on, we are not as good at the critical thinking and learning and functions that you want to do well in your study. We're not creating what we need. Worse than that is that while we're using our time and attention to produce results that are less than what we're capable of, we're also becoming progressively exhausted. Having stressful and anxious thoughts are exhausting, and anybody who's been in that state for more than a couple of days, let alone a couple of weeks, knows that anecdotally. You could be sitting completely sedentary for that week, but if you're having stressful and anxious thoughts, you're going to be exhausted without even considering the impact that it has on your quality of sleep, which we all know is critical for learning. So it's clear we don't want to misuse and certainly not overuse the stress and anxiety function. So what do we do with it? I'm feeling it. It's here. I can't stop it. I can't sleep. The big picture answer to this is being able to manage your own thoughts that produce the anxiety and stress. And that's what we do in coaching. We do thought management. We create deliberateness. But for you guys who have not done a lot of thought management in the past, those capabilities aren't yet yet available to you. So here's a tool that you can use now in this next couple of weeks to improve your experience, your awareness and your deliberateness about how you manage your stress and anxious thought. The answer is not simply to think positively, and this is why coaching and thought work gets a bit of a bad rap sometimes, because people think that thought work, positive thinking, coaching is just about ignoring the negative things and focusing on the positive things. It's not. And if you try that, it's not going to work. Once my clients, over time, and it takes a varying amount of time for different people, gain awareness of how their thoughts create their feelings, and that fuels their actions in the world, and that creates their results, they get to a point where they appreciate that their negative thoughts don't produce results that best serve them. When one of my beautiful clients get here, firstly, this is a major celebration for me, because I know this is a massive milestone for the results that they're going to be able to produce. However, it brings with it another learning point. They go to the next step now. Now they have enough awareness to recognize a negative thought. Awesome. They acknowledge in vague terms that this negative thought produces an undesired result. Certainly not the best result available to them. The trap for young players is here that they try to shortcut. They recognize the negative thought and they just try and swap it for a positive one. What they do when they try and jump to the positive thought is we simultaneously avoid, deny, push down that negative thought and try and just put the positive thought on top. That's not what I need you to do. We don't have time to train your brain's awareness, critical thinking, and deliberateness at this point in the weeks before your exam. Here's a tool as a shortcut that can offer you some of the benefits of thought management straight up. Pull it up. When you have your stressed or anxious thoughts, instead of avoiding it or pushing it down, pull it up. I highly recommend you write it down. It can be the messiest, ugliest, most brief list. Put it on a napkin if you like. But that process of writing it down takes such little time. But it affords you the extra distance between your thoughts so that you're better positioned to be in the observer, the watcher position. Just like what we aim for in meditation. Watching your thoughts instead of believing and being your thoughts. When you can watch your thoughts instead of believing your thoughts, you don't have the visceral emotional response. That creates the stress and anxiety. If you just identify and, better yet, write these desires down, you increase your awareness. What your brain is asking and flagging as important. What is the cause of the stress and anxiety? The reason why ignoring or pushing down this negative thought that's causing anxiety or stress doesn't work is because your negative thoughts actually have desires embedded in them. These are things that your brain has labeled as important. Whether it's a desire as in something you want to get, or whether it's a desire as in something that you want to avoid. You create some space to be the observer of your thoughts, and therefore someone who thinks about the way you're thinking, instead of just believing whatever thoughts pop into your mind. Another thing we learn in thought work is that just because your brain is telling you something doesn't mean that it's true. Your brain might be mislabeling these things. Some things may be important and some things may be unimportant. In coaching, we name these things up and we go into a critical thinking process for them. We make sure that our evidence is convincing and balanced. Whatever inferences we're making are fair. We use lots of different tools, but ultimately we make sure that we like our reasons for flagging something as important. Finally, you create the opportunity for deliberateness that you didn't have before when you were caught up in the urgency and the overwhelm, the stress and the anxiety. You get the opportunity to intellectually prioritize. You get the opportunity to do your work and learn with that sustained focus. The opportunity to plan and work fueled by a deliberate feeling instead of being fueled by stress and anxiety, by franticness and flightiness that comes with our fight or flight response. That tool alone, that exercise, writing down your desires that are driving your stress and anxiety will serve you in this exam period. And I know lots of you will feel like you don't have any control over your feelings. They just happen to you and you're just at the mercy of whenever they decide to go away. In coaching, the next step of this is creation, thinking and feeling on purpose to get the actions and results we want. When I'm doing intellectual work like studying, I want to be able to prioritize and focus deliberately. With thought work, we can create the emotions that we need to prioritize and focus deliberately. I choose different feelings other than stress and anxiety to fuel this work. Imagine if you could pick how you felt while you worked. Here are some of the feelings that I love to fuel my work. Determination, commitment, focus, capable, resourceful, powerful, responsible, one of my favorites right now. Certainty and in control. These are the feelings that I use to do my best work, even when I feel under pressure because something's important to me and my brain is asking me to look at these other threats. We can recruit these feelings to fuel us. We're not at the mercy of whatever your body or brain is seeming to offer you. Finally, Let me be clear. I am not suggesting there is some nirvana without suffering, anxiety, or stress. As we talked about at the start of the video, stress and anxiety have a function, a purpose. Anxious thoughts will never go away because your brain is smart enough to be aware of the possibilities of what could go wrong, what could stand in the way of you getting what you want. If you care about your thing, your brain is going to identify that as a threat, as well as probably continue to think on about all the possible consequences that could come with that threat becoming reality. What we offer with thought work, thought management coaching, is that you don't have to feel compelled or controlled by the feeling. And you certainly don't have to get stuck in it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck with your study periods and good luck with your exams. I believe in you. And I also believe in your resourcefulness and robustness to get back up and make things work, even if everything doesn't go to plan. Love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video.